So Firecrawl is an open source tool that lets you turn any website data into clean, structured, LLM ready data. Now, this is incredibly powerful because traditional scraping, it gives you, will typically gives you messy HTML, minus some powerful tools like Zenrose that are also AI powered as well. But what makes Firecrawl very interesting as well is that the data outputs are typically structured in either JSON or Markdown, and Markdown is a format that that LLMs speak and that they understand. Now, the four key functions of Firecrawl at the moment, because they're always adding new features and new functionality. But the first one is Scrape. So this allows you to pull readable content from a page. Search, you can find specific info by like mimicking a search function, like as if you're searching on Google. Map, which shows website structures, so pages and links, and Crawl. And this moves beyond just one page scraping. And in this video today, I'll be showcasing a real use case of how we can actually use Firecrawl in a system that, one, you can actually sell, or two, actually implement into your B2B company that's actually going to deliver results. This is not a video that is going to just show you how to build some ridiculous AI agent. The system, in my opinion, is very basic and very simple, but the use cases and the scalability of it and kind of the return on investment that a business could potentially have is massive. So before I actually get into the case study that I'll be, solving, or the problem that I'll be solving, and the system itself, I just want to show you some of the uses that we're going to be using on Firecrawl. Now, as I said, for this particular video, for this system, we're only going to be using Scrape. I may make other videos in the future that involve search, map, or crawl, but for this particular use case and this particular video, we're just going to be using Scrape. Now, what makes Firecrawl so powerful, like I said, is its ability to structure the data for us. And what we're going to be doing is making our lives incredibly easy. Now, before Firecrawl, what I would do, I would typically scrape using serpo.dev or Zenrose, get that HTML, and then feed it into any LLM to then structure the data or summarize it and so on. But Firecrawl have been so nice to, first and foremost, give us structured data, but also give us the option of summarizing, which means that we don't have to then send this to GPT or any LLM to actually summarize the information that it's getting and retrieving. So now what we've got here is both the information of the website scraped and formatted into Markdown, and also a summary. Now, for this system, this is the area that we're going to focus on most, is the summary, because we can use the summary for classification. Now, these functions are cool, but this tool alone doesn't solve any real problems. So let's look at a real business challenge and see how Firecrawl can actually create value, within an existing system. Okay, so this is the case study. This is the problem that we're going to solve. Now, Company X, just for some background, it's a mid-sized B2B SaaS company, and they sell marketing automation to other companies. Now, they've been scaling very, very fast, and their inbound marketing is working very well. And they're currently getting around 50 to 100 inbound leads every week. Now, every single time a new lead comes in, the SDR team has to visit the company website, figure out the company, what the company does, check if they're within ICP, and then update the CRM. In this case, Airtable is just going to be our CRM. Now, this process takes around 5 to 10 minutes per lead, and let's say a minimum of 50 leads per week. That's 8+ hours of manual admin time. And that's time that's being taken away from them building relationships, doing prospecting and being on the phone, and like doing high leverage activity, which is like selling. And basically, an entire SDR day is lost every single week, that as a minimum, because of this activity. And it slows down response time, which is critical for converting inbound leads. Now, the goal of Company X is that they want to automatically check if the inbound leads are within ICP. They want to scrape the company's website for key details. In this case, we're just going to use summary. They want to enrich Airtable, which is their CRM, instantly. So as soon as they get the inbound lead, they want the CRM to be updated. Or in the free SDR time from manual research, so they can spend more time booking meetings and growth activities. Now, the solution that we're going to be presenting is that we're going to build an n8n plus Firecrawl system that detects new inbound accounts in Airtable. It checks if the lead has already been researched. If not, it will scrape the company's website using Firecrawl, run, and we'll use classification. Then we're going to classify whether they are within ICP or not with an LLM. In this case, it's going to be GPT 4.1 mini. And then we're going to update the CRM or Airtable in this case, yes or no, if they are within ICP or not. And what this means is that now every single inbound lead gets researched in seconds. SDRs only see qualified accounts that are actually within the ICP, so they're not wasting time doing research. And the sales team never wastes time digging through websites and doing research. So this is a very basic system, like I said, and this is like low-level research. You can get very, very custom with tools like Clay. But the point is that we're taking a major part of the SDR work off of their hands so they can spend more time making the company money. Now we understand the challenge. Let me just show you the system that we're actually going to build to solve it. So just like any system, it starts off with some form of trigger. In this case, it could be manual, it could be scheduled, it could even be dynamic. I actually missed that here. So let's add that in. Dynamic. So we could also have dynamic trigger. So ideally, the best trigger type for this use case would be a dynamic one. So what I mean by this, instead of just waiting for someone to like schedule this or for someone to manually trigger this workflow, like say they come into work, it's 9 a.m, they trigger the workflow, and then this would then start all of the automation, the scraping, the researching. We could also schedule it by the hour, but speed to lead is so important here, so it's better to have a dynamic one. A dynamic trigger will allow us, what it will basically mean is that when the lead comes in, as soon as it comes in, the research starts. Anyway, I digress. After the trigger, we'd get the new accounts from the CRM, in this case Airtable. We're going to then check to see if research has already been complete. If it has been complete, we end and the workflow stops. If it hasn't been complete, then we begin the scraping process. So we send the domain to Firecrawl. Firecrawl will then scrape and summarize the data. If it is not successful, we'll have a 30-second delay and then we'll try again. One thing I've missed here is that ideally you'd want to try it a maximum of 3 times and then push an error. That would be if you're like building a robust system in production. In this case, this is just like it's not for production. Obviously, I've just created this for this video, but if you were building like a production ready system, keep that in mind, right? You would also have like a failure system, try 3 times and push an error. So if it is successful, then we'd send this data to our GPT ICP classification agent. You can call it agent. Really, basically, it's just a prompt. And this is the prompt. Nice and simple. And once it has classified whether the account is within ICP or not, we update the CRM, and then the process ends. Now, we could go even further and include like a Slack escalation or a Slack notification to a chosen SDR, or send an email with the accounts that are within ICP. There's so much we can do, but I just wanted to keep this just as simple as possible. So with that in mind, let's get into the n8n workflow. All right, so now we've gone over like how the system works. Let's actually start diving into the system itself. So let's start off with our CRM, right? So this is our fake CRM. Obviously, as you can tell, this is not a CRM at all, by no way, shape, or form. But it's a way for us to like store our data. And yeah, ideally, this is just mimicking what a CRM would look like, or how a CRM could possibly be and hold this kind of data. So just to be clear, what we have company name, we have the website URL, we have a place where we can hold the research, we have a checkbox for our ICP, and then we have the status. Now what we're going to do, we're just going to make all of these to do. All of these to do, fill, and that should update. And then we're just going to select one as done. Actually, let's do 2 as done. Now the idea is, the way the system works is that when we're in n8n, or when we manually trigger the workflow, we're going to check inside this Airtable database to see if the status is to do. If it is to do, it's going to push the data to it's going to grab the data and push it through our system. So that's why we're just checking to make sure that that function is working clearly. Then we're going to loop over each item. So we're going to send one item at a time so we don't overload the API. We have the if statement to check if it's worked or not. We have the wait node. Then we have the classification agent. And then we have two routes for ICP. This is actually unfinished. Because at the moment, if it is within ICP, it updates. If it's false, there's no operation. So we need to fix this. Because it's broken, right? Now, rather than me just go through each item and just talk you through it, we're actually going to rebuild this from scratch. All right. So I'm going to try my hardest not to look up. We're going to remember how to do it using the process map. Let's get the process map up. Because typically this is how you'd build a system anyway. You would refer to the process map. There will be no other system. Or there might be. There might be some examples or documentation that you're using. But cool. So now we've got account data. Now we need to check if research is complete. We've done that. And then we need to send to Firecrawl. But we can't just send all of the data in one go. Because, yeah, it's just not how it works. So we're going to do it in batches of one. So it's not really a batch. But we're going to control the flow of data. So what is it? Loop of items. I'm going to do it in batches, settings. That's fine. Okay, so now we're going to loop. Let's just double check, make sure it's working. So we had 9 items go through. Batches of 1, 2 do. We had 9 items. And how many items have we got here? I've got 11. Yeah, so that's perfect. Take away 2 is 9. So it's working as expected. All right, so now we need to send this data to Firecrawl. We're going to use this with the HTTP request. So this is post, not get, post. We are then going to get the URL. Perfect. We're also going to send headers. Let's look at authorization. Then my API key. I'm not going to show you guys that. Actually, it's fine because we can just redo it. So if you give me a second, I'm just going to get my API key. I can just set a new one. I'm just going to get it from here. It's here already. So just for context, you will not be able to use this. So if you are trying to just run up my credits, you won't be able to because I'm going to cancel it. Then we also need to send body. Let's use Firecrawl to help us here. And this is why I love Firecrawl so much, because you can just go to the playground. And then let's look at this example. And then we should be able to get the code for it. Oh, no, not here. Let's do another one, Apollo.io. I'm gonna get the code for the request where we CCO. We've got it markdown currently. We want summary as well as markdown. Let's do both. Let's have a look at the code with the CCO. And then what we're going to do is just copy this. So I've actually wasted some time here actually. Let's make sure this is correct. Data, URL, markdown, summary. Actually, it's fine. We'll edit it in n8n. So we're going to import it. Import. And it should make the amendments for us. No? Let's just add a new one fresh. Import. There we are. First, we're going to replace this with our website domain. It's frustrating me. I'm just going to make it bigger. Domain goes there. We don't want markdown. We just want summary. And we should be good to go. API key, JSON, header. Let's execute. I think we might have an issue here because of this comma. But let's see. All right, so we have an error. As I said, I assume there'll probably be a problem with the JSON. So let's run it again. I'll just make the amendments, execute. And we have a result. This is great. And this is the data that we want. This is the summary, right? So far, so good. Now, don't want to cheat and look at that. Let's look at our process map. So we've sent the data to Firecrawl. Firecrawl has now scraped it. Now we're going to see if it is a success or not. Now we're going to use an if node. Yep, status code. If status code equals 200, if that is true, we have success. Convert types were required. So it currently exists as a number. Let's try again. Wrong type, 200 is a number, but I was expecting a string. I've changed it to number. Maybe it's because convert types were required was on. Let's try again. So what we currently have is if status code is 200, then we respond with true. So that means it's been a success. Perfect. Now, if it's true, what do we want to do? We want to send to a classification agent. So we're going to add something. Actually, let's do the false first. So if false, we want to add a wait node for 30 seconds. Always output data. I got time to wait 30 seconds, but you get the gist. Wait, and then we are going to run it again. So that's done. Then what we're doing is sending it to the agent. So AI. What's this message? What did we use last time? I think we used messenger model. We're going to use, I think we use 4.1 mini. I'm just going to copy the prompt from here. And let's just make sure, yeah, that's perfect. Just gonna... I am just, no, it's nice. We'll keep it like this. I was gonna change it to Markdown, but it should work fine. Cool. So now, can we pin the result? No, it's fine. Cool. Now let's test this. Let's see what happens. Content, ICP, and what company is it? Money.com. So they're a B2B company that sells to other business. So perfect. Just gonna pin this. Then the next step is to update the CRM data. But if you remember, what we need to do is probably have another if statement. And we're going to do if ICP is equal to ICP. So if that is true, we're going to update the Airtable database. I'm going to update a record. And what we're going to do, we're going to match the ID. And to be fair, we could match by the company name or the URL, because obviously actually, yeah, let's do that. We're going to match by the website because that's always going to be unique. Actually, it's the same difference. So let's use the ID. Then we'll take the ID. That's already there. And what we're updating, we're bringing our research. So that's just a summary in this case. And the beauty of this, right, it's like, instead of just taking this approach, you could take the markdown, run it into AI, and do whatever research you wanted. And obviously with Firecrawl as well, you can extract specific products, specific data points that you need. So incredibly powerful. And like the use cases can be like, very vast. But the research is from here, which is the summary. Research. I'm going to mark ICP as true. I'm going to mark this as done. And then for force, I'm going to do something very similar. But I'm just going to do our research. So research is going to be updated and state is going to be done. And then I believe that's the end of it. Update CRM end. So then no ops. Done. Cool. Now let's execute the workflow. We'll remove the pin data. We're going to see if we've managed to get it to work. It should be updating this any moment. There we go. So that is done, and that is within ICP. Perfect. All right. So we had some technical issues, so I had to refresh my browser, but it should be working now. So only one was processed, which obviously isn't correct. We need to add a... It's supposed to loop round. So we're going to change the flow. So we're going to merge these. and turn it into just one. So it should get pinged once and only once. Perfect. Cool. Now the system should work. It should run, and it is. So that's done. Have we got any that aren't within ICP yet? No. So these are still to do. Apple, done, and it's not within ICP because it's a consumer run. Nike, done, not within ICP because it's a consumer run. And obviously these were already marked to do before we even booked. Oh no, it wasn't. Sorry, forgive me. I believe this one was marked. No, this was marked as done before we began. So that's why they haven't been triggered. So forgive me again. This Asana was marked as done before we began, and so was Intercom. Hence why they're empty. But if the system ran, let's just run them again, right? So let's mark these as to do, and let's see the outcome. Let's execute it again. So now it should only pull two items. Marked as to do. Yep. So let's do it again. There we go. Now these should be updated correctly within ICP and within ICP, and Nike and Apple aren't. So yeah, that is in the whole system. What I'll do, I'll leave a template of this system as well. So you can just copy it, download it. I'll also leave a template of the Airtable database, so you can have a look at that too. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. I'm also going to leave my newsletter below. I'll be talking about lead generation, automation, AI, Clay, and loads of other toolings, including n8n. And yeah, thank you for watching, and I love you guys lots. Have a good one.